had to say there was a problem with big German saloon cars, you could say they're quite expensive. And yes, you get a German build quality that probably isn't rivaled anywhere else, and you get a bit of extra badge bragging rights. But big German expensive saloon cars, they leave a gap underneath for other companies to come in and fill, where you can get a similar size saloon with the same sort of spec, but for less money. This is a Peugeot 508, and it is exactly that. It's a big, comfortable saloon car, but it costs a few £1,000s less than the equivalent German rival from Audi or BMW, or even an English one like Jaguar. Now this is a GT line car, and it's second from the top in terms of Peugeot's trim lineup. And it's got head-up display, it's got a decent radio, it's got sat-nav, it's got blind spot and all sorts of other safety systems. It's basically got everything you'd need on a saloon like this. Now firstly, I don't think this is going to particularly be much of a worry to Audi or BMW, because on the outside it's not exactly exciting. I quite like the way it looks from the front. I always have actually quite a bit of a soft spot for Peugeots and the way they look from the front. But the back of it is just a bit boring. And the exhaust, it's got twin exhausts as well, but they're not really twin exhausts, they're fake twin exhausts. And I never like that, whether it be on a Peugeot or any other car, fake exhaust, no. Inside, it feels like it's been nicely put together. There are no strange noises, and bits of it don't feel like it's going to fall apart. But it does feel quite old in here. You can tell that this car was launched a few years ago, because the sat-nav screen is quite small. It's quite dark and quite black in here. It just doesn't feel, yeah, very fresh, very new. This particular 508 has a 2-litre turbo diesel with 150 horsepower and 270 foot-pounds of torque, and it will get about 67, 68 miles per gallon as well. 0 to 60 takes 9.8 seconds, and the top speed is 130 miles an hour. It isn't exciting, but it's got loads and loads of torque. Between 1700 RPM and about 3000, it pulls really, really well. But the gearing is quite long, so you have to rev it slightly higher to keep yourself in that power band. To drive, it's surprisingly good actually. I feel like I'm sitting a little bit too high and I can't get the seat to go any lower, but it rides quite flat. It doesn't roll around very much. It's actually a lot firmer than I thought it would be. I thought it would roll all over the place, but it's still got a kind of really nice ride quality to it. So when you go over bumps, it's not painful, it's not uncomfortable, and it's not too choppy. Is this a good alternative to something like an Audi or BMW? Truth be told, no, because yeah, it hasn't got that German build quality that everyone loves in something like an Audi, but you do not have to spend the same amount of money to get a similarly spec'd car. This particular one is about 28,000, so it's, yeah, one of the top of the range models, but an entry level Audi A4, for example, is £100 under 27,000. So you can either have an entry level Audi A4 or you can have a top of the range 508 like this. So if you were looking at it purely objectively and you kind of think, well, I can get all the tech on the 508 that I'd have to pay several £1,000s more for in a German car, then fine, this will suit you very well. But it just doesn't excite me. The looks are okay from the front, but as I said, the back is just a bit dull, and in here it needs a refresh, it needs a whole new design. So if you look at it on paper, it might look okay, but to drive, I just wish it had just a bit more excitement with it.